questions. Coach, bye week, obviously it's a little different week for you. You don't have an opponent to prepare for. So how do you kind of go about bye week practices?
Fundamentals. So we went recruiting the first several days back at practice, and it's kind of fundamentals, ones on ones, twos on twos. Not unlike spring, except for shorter practices.
What's the schedule for like you the rest of the week and weekend?
Well, we'll practice like this tomorrow, and then and then they'll be off Saturday, and then Sunday we start in, just regular week.
Is it? Would this be kind of like? I know you're coming off a big win, so maybe you wouldn't want the bye in that case, but you get a little bit of extra time to prepare for the number one team in the country. So would you say it kind of came at the perfect time, the bye?
I don't have any control over it, so I don't really spend much time. I've always thought the best time's the middle of the season, or slightly later to the middle, and this is about that. The biggest thing is you want your troops as fresh as they can be, and so I think that part, it came at a good time that way.
Do you have any, you've been coaching for a while, do you have any like bye week rituals, anything you like to do? I know you catch up on recruiting and all that good stuff, but any bye week rituals or anything particular you did this year?
Well, they're just so different. Each one's so different, because depending on the time of the year you have it. Like the worst bye week ever is the first week. I've had that. Have a bye week the first week, and now let's play 12 straight games. Well, that's a brilliant bye week, or the last week, and that's an utterly that's a destructive bye week. The middle, the middle are like like past the midline, just past the midline of the season's a pretty good one. And then I don't have any rituals. You watch the same amount of film, but you don't have to cram it as much. It's not crammed as much as you're able to do it gradually. And then I don't know. After that, of course, maybe you get a little more sleep. I don't know.
Thoughts on today's practice? Guys come back, especially after a win, with a little pep in their step.
Yeah, they're all cranked up, and then that's one thing. Okay, we got to work the young guys, so during the bye week we will work the young guys, like all those scout team guys. We just got done letting them scrimmage and get good work with them.
Along those lines, Coach, how have Sawyer Robertson and Daniel Greek done in the scout team and work on Thursday nights?
Work in progress and getting better, and Jake's doing some good things too.
We're, like, after watching the film from that game, Will obviously getting all the accolades, but what have you seen specifically that people haven't, that he's kind of improved on, and how confident are you in the strides that he's taken?
Well, I think the people around him have gotten better, and so I think some of what he is able to do is kind of a byproduct of the receivers being in the right spot more precisely, the offensive line protecting better, that type of thing, and then him becoming familiar with that. So it's just a lot more precise when he knows where they're going to be and they know where he's going to throw it, type of thing. And but that's still a work in progress. We still got to get a lot better at it, but we're better at it than when we started.
Coach, you have played and defeated some number one teams in the country before. How do you maybe prepare your team to go play the number one team in the country mentally?
The biggest thing is just do your job. I mean, you got to get them to just embrace doing their job. I mean, and don't listen to any of the noise or the hype. I mean, you just worry about what you can control, and that's your job and how you execute together. And if you got the discipline to do that, you give yourself the best opportunity.
You said the bye gave you like a little more time to kind of separate the film that you watch. I'm sure it gives you some time to reflect too. You're 3-2 on the season, like 5 weeks in. What's your overall assessment on your team those first 5 weeks when you look back?
It's a team that's got to get better. I mean, each game or whatever reveals little things that you can improve on, and so you just try to get better. I mean, if there's something glaring, I mean, you have to aggressively address it, either keep running it or run something different or replace guys, whatever. But if it's our case, it's just overall the combination of youth and experience and number of plays guys have had. We need to manufacture that the best we can on the practice field with really good focus, and then the other would be to get the most that we can out of the film, because we're not able to get an extra year or two of experience. We've got to manufacture it and just be sharper on what we do have the opportunity to do.
Christian Ford, coach, 2 catches against LSU, 4 against A&M. We're starting to see him get a lot more playing time. What have you seen from him that has kind of allowed that to happen?
He's a great example of a steady worker. If anybody's working afterwards, it's him. He works incredibly hard, never stops working, and then he's a pretty optimistic guy. I mean, if he makes a bad play, the next play's going to be a good one. He doesn't go in the dumps if something doesn't go right. And he's just steadily worked hard and made himself a player. So yeah, like Ford, like if this thing started to cave in on Ford, wouldn't bother him a bit. He just set it back. See, I learned that from Ford.
You're not too rattled from that. Defensively, what strides do you think you guys have made coming off that win on the road there in a hostile environment to perform the way you did? What strides have you seen defensively?
Well, we felt like we could have played better, and then the other thing is try not to make too much out of it and just do the best you can. I mean, you want to stay out of your own way on that type of thing, and then a loud place like that, communication's key. And I thought overall as a team we communicated quite well.
Do you feel like that now that these receivers are kind of getting a good idea of what you want them to do, do you feel like that you're creating enough chaos in the secondary? Because it certainly felt against A&M there were a lot of people open just about every play.
Not enough, but more. And then the better you protect, the more you have an opportunity to do that. I mean, sometimes you would have chaos, except you got to get rid of the ball or can't hold it long enough for it to develop. So, we're improving in both areas, and we got to keep improving. Where I still view us as quite a ways off.
What do you think of the strides that Mekhi has made, and what's his ceiling as a player, you think? Because you've been around receivers a long time. I mean, a guy like that, what have you really seen from him?
Well, consistency. He's the best example of consistency of our receiving corps. And can say he's not the biggest, and he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, but he is the most consistent. And as a result, he's done a lot of really good things. And so, the key is turn some of those other guys into kind of, the polished version of themselves, kind of like Mekhi is. And I think, that elevates all of them.
So with the weekend off, what will you do? Will you spend some advanced scouting time? Will you watch college football? What will you do with the weekend kind of off?
It'll be like less brutal as far as watching the film. Like, in other words, I can spread it out over more days instead of, just slam it all into 2 days,
Anything else?
Sounds good.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach.
Coach,
All
thank
right,
you.
thanks.